Hi guys, welcome to VALORANT News. Big developments over the last 24 hours in the VALORANT world, especially when it comes down to roster changes going into the new season. Ardiis revealing that amazingly, he may have had an offer to return to the VCT in a various form in the relatively near future. Which team is this likely to be? Could it be on a temporary basis? Will he take up the opportunity at that? Loads of other things happening elsewhere as well. VALORANT on Twitter, your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Thought this is kind of, well, as Rob Moore points out, the 100T boys gassing up the Sentinels bundle. Of course, the 100T bundle, as we saw yesterday, has a bit of blue on it. I guess the teams, understandably, didn't want to compete with the red that Sentinels were obviously going to be having, but like Sentinels obviously cooked up something pretty nice. Again, it's a classic skin, and there are problems with the bundles, but we talked about that in some length yesterday. They're making a few changes to matchmaking, one of which is actually this refund system for RR. So, you know, if you had a cheater detected in the game, you'll be issued a refund for the RR that you would have had in that game that you didn't have, of course, at the time. There are also changes happening to some of the agents. So this year they're not going to do episodes anymore. It's going to be like a season with acts within the season. It's kind of the same thing, but they're renaming the way that they're describing it. Now, of course, Teho, the new agent that came in, and we talked about him yesterday, how powerful he seems to be, and also why he's massively relevant for the first tournaments of the season happening in just a few days, because he's good, he's potentially meta-worthy, his ultimate is very, very strong indeed, and I've seen many examples of that over the last day or so. And he's going to be allowed in the kickoffs around the world apart from China. So, yeah, big deal. They're making changes as well. There's talk about the sound sensors on Deadlock. There's talk about the power budget redistribution on ISO and also on Harbor as well, making him more, satisfying to play because he's not maybe that weak, but he's just not picked a lot. And then, of course, Neon, we're getting changes in the near future as well. There was also this discussion on the replay system. Everyone is hoping we're going to get it finally this year. And they talk about it a little bit more and some of the problems they're trying to solve. The main problem they're looking to solve right now is the discrepancy if there is ping in the game. So if you guys aren't familiar with how, let's say, just FPS games work in general, this is one example. So they've overlaid these two images between the replay and what actually happened in real life. So this guy on the right hand side here, that is where the character actually was at the time of recording. That's what the replay sees. On the server, the character was here. However, this player had 150 milliseconds of ping in this example, I believe. It was something like that. So on my side, on the client side, the player was actually here. And in this example, I hit the shot on the player exactly where he was on my screen at the time. But you guys, I'm sure, have experienced this in all games. You get this what's called lag compensation, where after you shoot, the registration of the kill might not happen for another 150 milliseconds. And then when you do get the kill, the guy appears to fall in a different spot to where you actually shot him, because that's where he was on the server. But obviously on the client side, you have to do it like this. It's a natural thing in any FPS game because, you have to show people what's happening on the client side and not the server side, because otherwise, you're going to be missing every bullet because you're aiming here and actually the character's there the whole time. The problem this causes, though, is then when you go into a replay mode, what you saw on your screen and what actually happened on the server is a little bit different. So how do you show it? That's what often happens in the replay modes, is that if you show it as it appeared to be on the server, then it looks like you just missed the character. And that's why, they're working this out. Because if you look at it, I think this one here, you see how it seems as if I've just missed the shot in the replay version. But to be fair, there have been many replay modes in other games where this is kind of just like how it is, and it's not perfect, and there are various solutions you can try to this, and as he describes in the video, no solution to this is perfect, but I think people would prefer that they just ship it so people can use the replays even if it's not perfect. So they're still developing it, and they're trying to solve these problems, but there have been other replay systems in other games that aren't perfect because of problems like this, but the pros and the coaches still want to just be able to see the replay for the pros. So I get why they're, working out some of the finer details, but I feel like many would just say launch it and fix that later. But I guess that is far easier said than done. It seems there's going to be a 2025 VCT season capsule coming soon, inspired by the success of the lock-in collection, and apparently it's going to be like a melee skin, as we see right about here. So that's kind of cool. Stay tuned, I guess, for any further developments on that. Couple of roster things as well. Team Secret, they've signed Meow, former Boom Esports head coach. He's going to Team Secret to replace Dummy. There was a couple of like images leaking this basically, and that's what Tanmay describes apparently is actually happening. There's also this. So Reject, lesser known organization, I guess, in the tier 2 side over in Japan, and they are signing Sire Player and Hate. Of course, Sire Player formerly on the guard, then on T1 recently, and he's going to go here. Interesting to me because, you know, I thought maybe Sire Player would get a better offer from somewhere else, but no, that's what he's going to be apparently doing going into the upcoming season. We also saw this, Shank's officially back in business on NRG. I thought it was nice the way that I did this video actually here, like FNS looking like a proper journalist with his questions and the answers that he gave as well. But also we have some scrim bucks to get into in addition. Especially this one was interesting. We know that T-Dog, formerly of TSM, left the team, apparently by mutual agreement, and there was discussion that he effectively left because he had an offer on the table that he couldn't refuse. And that seemingly is where we are today, when it seems like he has now joins the Qubit Academy, kind of like the Sentinels Academy, and the roster is seemingly going to be Redux and Scuba, both formerly of the Oxygen Esports team last year, Nismo, Knight, and T-Dog. So they've messed around with a number of different players on this roster. Of course, I think Crashies was briefly here before he's now, of course, headed over to Fnatic. But yeah, this is just one example of that. Of course, M80 are coming back in as well, so whether that means anything for Nismo, who knows, but they've been playing against EG and others over the last couple of days. So that seems to be the team that they're rocking with. We also have some other scrim bucks. This VCT Scrims account has been launched, and this is going to be sensational content for me this season, because you know, we have 100T versus G2, 9-7 in this one, and if you guys ever are watching a stream and you see a you know, a leak of a scrim on the right-hand side or whatever, then either send it to me or just send it to this guy, and it will get up there on the timeline. So this one, EG were 14-6 against Kumi and co. Not exactly sure what team that's going to be. We see Potter, Superman, Derek, Yay, etc. So maybe their scrims, EG looking quite good for the new season. There was also this as well. I don't know who DFM are playing against, but they might be down 2-12. That's not ideal, but of course it depends on the competition, I suppose. And there was also this one, Sentinels was spotted, 100T was spotted, playing who knows, but they were 6-4, they were 2-5. It's like we can't really read anything into this, but it is, I suppose, just a little bit nice to look at. This though is the clip that I wanted to share for you guys here from Ardiis. So we talked a lot about Ardiis over the last few days. Always a character, and a controversial character a lot of the time at that as well. Now, he's been around the league for some time. We know that he's an entertaining personality, and that is not going to change. But he's also a pretty solid player. And reportedly, according to himself, he has had an offer to return to the VCT, maybe on a temporary basis, but an offer nonetheless over the last few days to come back into the league. What is this offer? Where might it be? Is he going to accept it?
To be fair, I got an offer, chat, today. I'm not gonna say any team, but I got an offer today to stand in for the pro team. That's all I'm gonna say, chat. That's all I'm gonna say.
So he mentions the possibility of standing in for a pro team. So either some team is struggling, they need a player. So, you know, Fnatic, right? They've obviously had some issues with Leo coming back in time, but they've got Crashies in place there, so you wouldn't imagine there are any issues. The one team that people are talking about here, and I don't know what team actually this could be, but there's just been a bit of talk about Apex, right? Because Apex have signed Floor from, of course, Game Changers, from SR, and this, of course, is a very big deal, but they've not confirmed Apex who their fifth is right now. As it stands, they only have 4 players, Floor, Molsey, Hype, and Avova. That is their team of 4. They don't have right now a 5th player. So who is the 5th player? Do we know? Obviously they've been scrimming and practicing with somebody, you would imagine, but not somebody, the Paper X player. You know what I'm saying. Ardiis, could he be an option here? Possibly. Could he be a short-term stand-in until they find their solution? Maybe, because we're expecting it to be an EMEA team, right? That's what Ardiis is based out of. He's not, it's it's pretty doubtful that an America's team, a China team certainly, or a Pacific team will have reached out to Ardiis and said, hey, we need you to sub in. It's likely to be a team in Europe, you would think. And of all the teams, maybe Apex makes some sense, maybe it's somebody else. But yeah, question for you guys. Should Ardiis take the offer? Should he come back into the league? Which team might it potentially be? Is this going to be a good decision, whatever way it happens? In Twitter, your thoughts in the comments below, absolutely. And just a couple of things to close out with, starting actually with this. It is 10 days, maybe as of today it's 9 days, but it's close enough, until the start of the VCT Pacific. I think it is actually 10 days, but or VCT, I don't know if I said that wrong. Anyway, trip down memory lane, revisit the champions from past seasons. 2023, it was Paper X. Last year's kickoff, Gen.G won. Stage 1 was won by Paper X. Stage 2 was won by Gen.G. So for the last couple of seasons, there have only really been 2 teams that have been mixing it up at the top of the Pacific. This season may change, who knows? Obviously, T1, really like their team, very promising. I've said that for a while. DRX, I'm not so convinced by. And there are some other teams in the mix as well, as will Paper X and Gen.G still be, I am sure. But it's not long until the Pacific gets underway. I think it's even less time until the Americas gets underway, and just a couple of days now until China gets underway, although they will be playing without Teho, that the other regions will, to our understanding. But very much interested your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.